Burning Question, powered by Amrita Hospital, Faridabad.
Republic sets the India's news agenda. Former trustee was threatened by Yakub relative to give the grave to 1993 bomber. Yakub relative seen with top Mahavikas Aghadi ministers. Did Uddhav Thackeray government let the underworld get its way? Mega proof piles up. Uddhav's government's role becomes clearer. Did the Uddhav government know but did nothing? Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde says Yakub Memon is an accused in the Bombay blast case and can't be glorified. Vows action. Ladies and gentlemen, amid the raging controversy over the alleged beautification of the grave of terrorist Yakub Memon, Republic TV has now accessed a complaint letter of the former trustee of the graveyard, where he's essentially revealed that he was threatened by Tiger Memon's aide Rauf Memon to build a special grave for his brother Yakub Memon. We dug further to know more about the threats. Apparently, though, the complaint was sent to the Mumbai police on 6th of January 2020. It turns out the Mumbai police under Uddhav Thackeray government did not act. The burning question is that did Mahavikas Aghadi ministers bless Yakub Memorial? Can the Uddhav government wash their hands off now? Can the Uddhavs, Seda, NCP and Congress deny the leaks? The bigger question is that what was the BMC, what was the Mumbai police doing at that point in time? More importantly, when threats were being issued and the complainant had knocked the doors of the Mumbai police, why is it that they feigned ignorance? Was there some sort of a political pressure, or was there appeasement at the heart of this entire decision? Let's debate.
The beautification of the grave of India's most dreaded terrorist, Yakub Memon, who was behind the 1993 blast, has shocked the entire nation. Republic TV dug deeper to find out who was responsible for the terror memorial. Republic accessed a letter written by the former trustee to the Mumbai police, how he was threatened by D-Gang's Tiger Memon. All this under the nose of the Mahavikas Aghadi government under Uddhav Thackeray.
मेरे पास में रऊफ मेमन जो है वो कुछ ताल्लुक से अप्रोच हुए थे, ऐसे मुमरा आते थे, तो उन्होंने मुझको बोला कि मुझको जो है वो याकूब मेमन की जो है कब्र जो है अलॉट करो कि ये 17, 18, 19 BR, ठीक है। ये उनके हाथ का लिखा हुआ लेटर है जो उन्होंने जुमा मस्जिद में पेश किया था और जो वो हमसे मांग रहे थे.
And as the evidence piles up, watch how the Mahavikas Aghadi is washing its hands off from the matter.
तो उस वक्त वो कब्रस्तान में जब मेरे से मिलने के लिए आया तो मुझे फ़ोन दे रहा है, मेरे को बोलता है कि मैं तुम्हारी अभी बात करवाता हूँ पाकिस्तान में टाइगर मेमन से, खाली सलाम दुआ कर लो. अरे भाई मुझे ना सलाम करना ना दुआ करना है, मैं क्यों किसी से बात करूँ जब मेरा किसी से कुछ लेना देना नहीं है.
As the row over the terror memorial explodes, the Maharashtra Chief Minister swung into action, informing the BMC and Mumbai police to take necessary steps.
आज के आदेश दिए हुए हैं और कार्रवाई हो रही है, आपने देखिए कार्रवाई शुरू है.
जो ट्रस्ट के लोग हैं उनसे भी क्या पूछताछ होगी सर?
जांच के बाद सब हो जाएगा, जांच होने दो.
सर बीजेपी ने
गलत हुआ है उसके ऊपर कार्रवाई हो जाएगी.
But the big question is, how was this allowed?
Maharashtra was ruled by a Thackeray. For years and decades, we in the RSS and VHP had respect for Bala Thackeray. But when his own son was the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, he sank into such depths that even Yakub Memon could be glorified. And as we all know, the history is that when they fall, the power also leaves them.
The Mahavikas Aghadi has a lot to answer, from allowing beautification of Yakub's grave to the cops ignoring threats of the former trustee. The burning question is, Did Uddhav government know but do nothing? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight many will actually tell you that there are certain rules and regulations that are to be followed. There are certain technicalities, and that is the reason why perhaps this has happened, and we are not essentially responsible. There would be also people who would say that why did the previous government give the kind of security that they did after the hanging of Yakub Memon when his body was being brought back to Mumbai? Now, I would like to tell you right at the straight of the debate, at the beginning of this debate, that we need to be aware of what's really happening. The fact that who is really behind this, and not really continue with this debate in the garb of some sort of technicalities. Joining us on this debate tonight is Aarti Sathe, spokesperson of the BJP, Sujata Pandey, political analyst joining us from Mumbai, Sandeep Singh, author and columnist joining us from Mumbai, Atikur Rahman, Islamic scholar, Intikhab Farooqi of the Shiv Sena, Vijay Krishna, political analyst leaning towards the Shiv Sena, and Faizan Mirza, political analyst leaning towards the NCP. Straight away beginning the debate is Intikhab Farooqi and Aarti Sathe. Let's have both of them on the screen right now. Intikhab Farooqi, shouldn't you, your party, perhaps hang your heads in shame when you have allowed none other than a convicted person? Courts had rejected all sort of petitions that were been filed at the last moment to prevent his hanging. There is absolutely no doubt about Yakub Memon's role as far as the 1993 blasts are concerned. Part of the criminal conspiracy, someone who's actually helped Tiger Memon as far as finances of getting the materials for the 1993 blast. Keeping all of that in mind, Intikhab Farooqi, will you actually say this tonight, that your government, when you were in power, allowed this to actually happen?
Sir, first thing, I would like to pay respect and tribute to the people who have lost their lives in 1993 blast, what took place. And we can feel their pain, their family members' pain, that how it feels like to lose someone, one of your family member. And, I can understand. And at the same thing, one thing I would like to tell you, that whatever extension and whatever has happened so far in that area, that has to be removed, because clearly, I mean, there shouldn't be any message. And one thing I would like to tell you, that there were, like since when Osama bin Laden was, from America, when this thing took place, they did not hand over this to anyone. They put him into the sea, as far as I've heard, and the same thing should have happened here also, I think.
Mr. Farooqi.
But now, yes.
Mr. Farooqi, can I just remind you a couple of things? Can I just remind you a couple of things before you continue by saying that, because that's exactly what your leader Aditya Thackeray had to say. But the fact of the matter is that your party was very much active. Your party was very much in power. And when you're talking about the fact that why was security given, and the fact that why was, first of all, the body being allowed to be brought back to Mumbai, I don't recall a single moment at that point in time when you objected or raised questions about the action of the government at that point in time. Today you are basically doing this primarily to cover up your mistake. You allowed this to happen. I'm being very patient and I'm taking this forward, because let me just tell you, back in 2020, 6th of January 2020, a letter is basically written. A letter is written to the Mumbai police that here is a former trustee who's actually receiving threats from Tiger Memon. He's getting calls from Pakistan. And then what happens is that the police under you at that point in time did not do anything.
See, let me tell you, here we are not here to point on someone. Here the situation is that there is Mumbai police is already have solved many cases, and they are enough to solve the issues and problems. Big issues they have solved, and they rank in the world. But now what I mean to say is that whatever situation has happened, the police will take its action. Whatever has happened, not
But who
happened.
allowed it to
But
happen
here
is
we
the
are
bigger
not to,
question, no, Mr.
point out on
Faruqi.
each
I
other
understand. But why aren't you answering my simple question? I need to move on also. My simple question to you is, I'm not asking you to give any certificate to the Mumbai police. That's okay. That's okay. We don't need the certificate from you, or nor does the Mumbai police really need a certificate from you. But the fact of the matter is that who allowed it in the first place? Because now, once you're trying to cover this up by simply saying that whatever has happened, let's move on. That's not going to really happen.
No, I did not say that what has happened. See, the law will take its action. We believe in the law. But see, here we are not here to raise finger on each other. Things what we are saying right now, we should take action on that. As we have seen, the extension has taken place in that area where,
Okay,
and also,
I want...
one thing I would like to tell you, that also the committee members of that Bada Kabristan, where he's been buried. So I think that they have some particular time for the people to, how much time it will take for the body to decompose, and then they will, put the next person in, whoever passes away. So they must have some timing of 1 year or 2 year or something like that. But yeah, sure. But now what extension is there right now, that should be removed from my point of view so far, that I believe in. Yes.
Aarti Sathe, you've heard what Intikhab Faruqi had to say. At least I can't understand why is it very difficult for him to actually admit the fact that yes, a mistake that was committed by the Mahavikas Aghadi at that point in time, at least admit it rather than passing it on, passing the buck, and then perhaps drawing parallel as to what really happened with the body of Osama bin Laden. And even if that was the concern, why wasn't that raised when Yakub Memon's body was brought back, handed over to the family members?
First and foremost, let me please tell you that because of the ongoing Ganpati Visarjan, there is a lot of background noise because of which I'm unable to hear a lot of things. And this is something which is not in our hands today. So there may be some disturbance in my responses or what I hear. So please excuse me for that. Well, I have heard what Mr. Qureshi has said. I couldn't even hear certain things because of the ongoing procession. First and foremost, like the Chief Minister has said and Deputy Chief Minister Mr. Fadnavis has said, that the inquiry is going on. And something like this, glorification of a terrorist, is something which I think is not which we support. Now, whether it is allowed by the MVA, whether there was a tacit consent which the MVA has given, and they are not in a position today, or they don't want to accept it, it's rather sorry thing. By just, paying commiserates or condoling the deaths of the 1993 blast victims, it was the biggest national tragedy which took place in India. And the masterminds of that tragedy, who were really hung to death, glorifying them is something which nobody wants. Let the investigation come through. Let the situation pan out. Let really an inquiry be made as is directed. And I think the role of whoever is involved in it will be clearer, is really what the only thing which I would really like to say in this. I'm sorry, I can't really talk much because of the background music or the background. I'm not in a position to speak more than this at this point in time because of the background music.
That's okay. Sujata Pandey, can we have Sujata Pandey and Atikur Rahman on the screens right now? Sujata Pandey, now let me just take this question because Aarti, perhaps because of the commotion all around her, hasn't really been able to hear the question that I was asking. Let's be very direct right now. Who exactly is responsible for it rather than this entire whataboutery? Because what is very clear is that even if the civic body was not really directly responsible, at the end of the day, the Mumbai police would have certainly been aware of what was really happening. So my question is very simple, that when you are seeing that this is actually unfolding before your eyes, will the government or will the government not act upon it? Back on 6th of January 2020, the former trustee is basically saying that, look here, I'm receiving calls from Pakistan. I'm being told that the calls are coming from Tiger Memon, and that the grave should be handed over. It should be allowed for the glorification or the beautification that's supposed to take place. And if that's actually happening, if that's already been highlighted, why shouldn't the Mumbai police really act on it?
Absolutely, Shravan. See, it's very unfortunate that our country is so much plagued by the appeasement that attempts are being made to first glorify the terrorists, which killed more than 279 people and injured 1,400 people, and that was very conscious, planned event in a Hindu majority area. So I would call it it was a very planned genocide of Hindus. Number one, and there is a lobby which all the time first tries to protect the terrorist. You remember in this case too, they went to the Supreme Court, they went for a mercy petition, which lot of notable celebrities and politicians across, the opposition, they signed this petition, making it was an attempt to tell that he's not a convict and he should be given mercy. And I think it is very, very sad for a country. Clearly the appeasement is taking over the national interest. Now coming to this case, in Hindi they call it pratyaksham kim pramanam. That means if you have enough proofs that how there was a possible nexus between the MVA ministers, the underworld don, and the police was just acting as a puppet. We saw that in the Antila case, we saw that in the Vasuli Gate case, we saw what happened to Mansukh Hiren case. I mean, there are enough proofs, isn't it? And this is another event in that same cities where the police was perhaps protecting and ignoring the FIR, which the ATS ignored the FIR as per your channel's report. Also, don't forget the trust also went to the Waqf board, and the Waqf board also decided to keep quiet on this. It is absolutely shameful that Bala Saheb Thackeray's son, who was a minister, who was the chief minister at that time, is trying to protect someone and glorify, a terrorist
looks like Atikur Rahman wants to respond
for the genocide of Hindus. No, what would Atikur Rahman?
In fact, I think Atikur Rahman wants to respond. Atikur Rahman,
Sujata, another debate, and he said that he would happily go and put flowers.
No, let's keep the other debate aside. Let's keep the other debate aside. Atikur Rahman, do you or do you not believe that this is glorification of a terrorist?
No, it's not, Shravan.
See,
it's
misleading. This is what I told
the
you,
reports
Shravan.
are misleading.
How?
No flowers, no...
How is it misleading?
Shravan, I am telling you. Shravan, Sujata, with due regards to you, as far as the grave of Yakub Memon is concerned, the photographs which are in public domain are of 3 and 3.5 months back, when there is a sacred night called Shabe Barat. The entire Kabristan graves are, please do not interrupt. Your interruption will prove that you do not want the real picture to emerge. You want to mislead the people. You want to demonize the Shiv Sena of Uddhav Thackeray. You are habitual in demonizing the Shiv Sena of Uddhav Thackeray. Please don't do this. And because it is in the name of a grave and a Kabristan, I need to have a fair chance to explain the correct picture.
How can you be so inhuman to glorify and come in the support of a terrorist?
Is this the way you conduct the discussion?
The Muslims too were killed.
Okay, Sujata,
oh my God,
Sujata, hold on. Sujata, one second. I was asking a direct question here. Okay, Sujata, allow Sujata, hold on. Atikur Rahman, I'm asking you this question once again. You say that this is not a glorification of a terrorist like Yakub Memon, a man who has been part of the criminal conspiracy of the 1993 blasts. No matter what's the time period that you're essentially looking at, 3 months, 3 years, whatever may be the case, the reality is, as far as this grave of Yakub Memon is concerned, Atikur Rahman, there is basic beautification, glorification attempt that has been made, irrespective of which time period are we talking about?
Absolutely.
Shravan, please give me 30-40 seconds. Yakub Memon was tried and hanged by the law of the land. We respect the law of the land. Maybe the people have different, viewpoints regarding this, but due course of law had taken place. At the time of giving the body to his family members, and everything happened in the eyes of the central government and the state government. Were there some conditions laid for the family members that what should be done henceforth? No.
I mean, is it not your moral responsibility?
Buried in again. Shravan, this is not debate to debate. Sorry. Shravan, this is not debate.
Sujata, let him at least make the point. Sujata, that way does not. Sujata, it does not help. Okay, Sujata, you may have a fair point. Fair point, but let him at least complete, and I'll take the question. I'll counter Atikur Rahman on facts. Atikur Rahman, so you may complete your sentence.
So the body was buried in a regular Kabristan, wherein other thousands of graves do emerge there, day in and day out. On a sacred night, we Muslims go and offer flowers to my relatives also, and near about the graves also. There is no preferential treatment given to any grave, be it of a murderer, a rapist, or a terrorist also. Nobody glorifies anybody. The graves are common to every Muslim. And if people do not give any preferential treatment, again, please Sujata, please hear the point. If I apply to the trust people that I want to have
defending and glorifying the terrorists, I will not stop on this.
It's not allowed. It's not permitted.
A terrorist cannot be your relative.
It's not permitted.
Is he your relative?
Glorifies.
Was he your relative?
And
please,
Uddhav Thackeray ji cannot be held responsible for at least glorifying a terrorist.
By putting flowers, what are you doing?
So you saying the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Uddhav Thackeray, cannot be held responsible? Okay. One second. Okay, Sujata, you've made your point, but let me ask this question. Sandeep Singh and Faizan. Sandeep Singh and Faizan, you can also comment. Faizan, when your government was in power, and as Atikur Rahman essentially points out, that former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Uddhav Thackeray, or for that matter, even the Home Minister who was from the NCP at that point in time, did not really act upon it. And let me just elaborate this a little bit. When I'm saying elaborating it with specifics, these are the specifics. Number one, when any changes that were being made to the original plan, the trustee is basically responsible. Fair enough, the trustee is responsible. This basically area comes under some DCP. This area comes under some additional police commissioner. This area comes under the Mumbai police jurisdiction. Mumbai police would have got some information, and in fact they did. I have a letter with me right now of the former trustee informing the Mumbai police in black and white on 6th of January 2021. In that, they are specifically mentioning that there were calls that were coming in from Pakistan. So how are we supposed to brush that aside?
In today's age of technology, anyone can take picture with any minister. And if the person is accused, then I don't think that the minister is accused. And the
I'm not
minister
asking that question, Faizan. My question was different. Faizan, my question was different. I'm not even asking. I knew that I'm not even bringing my debate to the photographs that have emerged of Rauf Memon with the Mahavikas Aghadi ministers. That's a secondary point. I'm asking very primary, basic question. My question to you is this, that the police under your government at that point in time did actually get a letter from the former trustee. I have the specific date. I have the specific letter in which they make a mention of calls were coming in from Pakistan. They're making a sensational allegation that this was regarding the grave of Yakub Memon. If the Mumbai police was essentially aware of it, why is it that they did not act?
That should be inquired by the officers only, because government cannot be held responsible for that. And at that time, I don't think that any such information was given by police and I don't think that any such information was received. If something like that would have happened at that time, then it should have been came into the media also. And I only request one thing, that the previous government in 2015, we have to examine their role also. That why Yakub Memon's body was handed over to his family. Why a culprit, why a terrorist
But you never raised this
body
point, no?
was handed over. My question
Mr.
is,
Mirza.
and I want answer of that also.
Mr. Mirza, this
Why why are we
but Mr. Mirza,
MVA
isn't that an afterthought? Sandeep Singh, doesn't that come across as an afterthought?
Yeah.
No, imagine a situation. Okay, I've actually gone through Sandeep Singh. I've gone through almost every possible leader's comments when Yakub Memon was hanged. On 30th July 2015, when he was hanged, what is it that the political leaders had to say? When Aditya Thackeray basically makes a mention today that what happened to Osama bin Laden should have been done the same way. Today, Mr. Mirza is saying the same question, saying that why did the body be handed over in the first place? Well, the fact of the matter is that isn't this an afterthought, Sandeep Singh? Because if that was the case, if they had a problem with the body being handed back to the family members as per the various traditions, then why did they not raise this when this actually happened back in 2015?
Yeah, I have 2 points to make, Shravan. It's important that I remind everybody, including the viewer, that when Hindus were being blown into bits and pieces in 93 bomb blast, Sharad Pawar had made a fake claim that there was a bomb blast in a Muslim area also, which he owns very proudly. So if that is what NCP leader is, I'm not surprised that what we saw is happening today. Because the MVA Mahavikas Aghadi was run by Sharad Pawar and Sanjay Raut. Uddhav Thackeray, I don't know how much control he had if you go by the media reports and what people talk in political circles. And the second point, if everybody wants that his body, Yakub Memon's body should have been treated the way Osama bin Laden's body was treated, then 2 questions. Why, when 20,000 odd people participated in his funeral procession, none of these people objected? And the second part, if they are so, they believe it in so much that their body should have been treated like Osama bin Laden, will they agree that his body is exhumed now? Whatever remains are there are thrown into the Arabian Sea.
Case of sedition should be filed against that peoples, and case of sedition should be filed against trustees of that Kabristan.
What about Sharad Pawar's making fake claims? Want to say something on that also?
Sorry?
Do you want to say something on the Sharad Pawar's fake
Mr.
claims
Mirza,
that he made that a
Mr.
bomb blast
Mirza,
had happened in a Muslim area also?
Not only that, your allies love for Yakub Memon. Sandeep Singh, I just want to add one more point. Mr. Mirza, the reason why you're facing these questions is because your allies have always had the penchant for showing love for the terrorists. In this particular case also, as far as Yakub Memon is concerned, let me just remind you, your long-time ally, the Congress Party, Congress Party's Aslam Sheikh was the one who had written a letter to the then President Pranab Mukherjee seeking mercy for the 1993 Mumbai blast accused Yakub Memon.
By clicking photos with someone.
Let me take this question to Vijay.
Criminal.
Okay, make your point, then I want Vijay Krishna to also come in. Mr. Mirza, why don't you respond, and then I bring in Vijay Krishna also. We seem to be having some problem with the audio line of...
Audio problem is going on because...
No, I'm asking you a specific question.
Yes, tell me.
Okay, we'll try and fix your audio line. I want to ask this question to another ally of the Congress Party. Vijay Krishna, the fact here is, one, you have always taken the pride of ensuring that you do not fall into the trap of appeasement. But it turns out, when you were in power, that's exactly what you did. Because if you were actually aware that such a thing has occurred, you would have acted upon. As Intikhab Farooq at the beginning of this debate, I've been asking him this question specifically, that if you were aware, why did you not act?
First of all, good evening to all of the panelists. I'd like to take you back to the year 2016, wherein Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji in his Mann Ki Baat offered his condolences to Radhika Vemula, whose son committed suicide at Central University, who was an urban Naxal, who hated Hindu culture, who hated Hinduism, and he began to share his sympathies with the mother whose son was against our country. So should I now keep on criticizing Narendra Modi ji? See, the person whom you shared your grief also participated in Elgar Parishad meeting. Elgar Parishad meeting, and that Elgar Parishad conspired to assassinate Narendra Modi ji. So I am saying we have to work for a overall reforming this system with regard to how to treat a terrorist. Here the people talk about the terrorist as no religion, but here Atikur Rahman says that we don't give any preferential treatments to the graves. His bones should be dug out. I dare Shinde government, dug out the bones of this Yakub Memon and throw it in Arabian Sea. And it is Fadunis government which allowed the funeral procession to take place. Why did
you not do it?
Why did they inform their family members only to participate?
Fair enough. You are asking, certainly that question you can certainly ask this government whether they are going to do anything about it or not. That's a different matter altogether. They should, and if they don't, they too would be facing the same questions. But Vijay Krishna, the fact of the matter is that you were in power. What did you do about it rather than blaming the other person? Of course, if this government does not do it, if this government does not do what exactly you are demanding, questions would be asked about them also. Let the inquiry happen. But the fact of the matter is that what did you do?
This is what I'm saying. We all need to come together, condemn this jihad terrorism and those people who believe Sar Tan se juda and who try to create
my
chaos
question
in this
to you is
country.
something different.
I would also like to bring
condemn it. Of course condemn it. That you should have done it long back. My question is that you still don't want to answer my question. What were you doing all this while?
This is what I've been saying. We have to blame ourselves for condoning the terrorists. It is a system. You can't just blame just because Gatkopar MLA Ram Kadam sneezes, so but Shiv Sena is responsible. Ram Kadam is the promoter of quarrels. He wants to bring to power BJP at the upcoming local body elections in Mumbai. Mumbai local body elections is about how to improve the civic amenities to the people, how to work more efficiently. Now you're bringing the terror angle, but many Hindus have been killed under honorable leadership of Narendra Modi ji.
Making mazars out of terrorists.
And you're talking about appeasement. And recently, Fayaz Islam, BJP leader, received JP Nadda ji at the BJP headquarters. Not Raja Jai Singh, not Nupur Sharma. अरे बताइए जी, JP नड्डा जी को कौन रिसीव किया है? राजा जय सिंह ने क्यों नहीं रिसीव किया है? आप भी अपील करते हैं? आप बोलिए, JP नड्डा जी, जब JP नड्डा जी बीजेपी हेडक्वार्टर्स में आया, फयाज इस्लाम खड़ा है, राजा जय सिंह नहीं खड़ा है। राजा जय सिंह क्यों नहीं खड़ा है? आप अपील करते हो? आपको माइनॉरिटी वोट चाहिए? इसलिए आप डर गए। आप शिवसेना पर कुछ भी इल्जाम लगाए तो इसमें स्वार्थ है। हम पाकिस्तान से नफरत करते हैं।
Sujata wants to come in. Sujata, I still haven't got a clear answer from neither Vijay Krishna or Intikhab Farooqi that why is it that they did not act upon it. Fair enough, you can condone it today. Fair enough, you can keep saying that we should all come together and we should ensure that this does not happen. But the fact of the matter is, it has happened under your nose.
Absolutely. And Shravan, when BMC knew every detail about the Kangana Ranaut's office and which part is to be demolished and which part is to be left, how did they not know that the entire Qabr is being converted into a mazar? See, the attempt was just not to glorify. Perhaps the attempt was to make him look like a saint some year down the line, so that people can go offer prayers and put flowers and do and ask for their wishes to be fulfilled. From a terrorist, this question they can't evade. And all the pictures of the MVA ministers with the underworld people, where Rauf Ahmed is also present in the pictures. They need to answer that. They need to answer. You can't see.
आप क्या करने वाला वाली है? आप
बताइए. जनता ने आपकी आवाज बंद कर दी है.
चार लोगों में बात करने से कोई भी नहीं आता, कोई कुछ भी नहीं आता. बुलडोजर
Vijay Krishna.
Hold on.
Atikur Rahman wants to. Atikur Rahman and Sujata.
Just 30 seconds, Shravan.
Taking on Sujata writers. Atikur Rahman.
30 seconds.
At least one thing about Atikur Rahman is that he's willing to accept. He's willing to accept. At least put out certain facts as far as this case is concerned. Atikur Rahman, let's understand this, and let's be honest with each other. It is absolutely impossible that
Shravan,
the Mumbai police would not have any idea of what was actually happening. My question is very simple. If the Mumbai police was actually aware and they had a letter written to them specifically talking about a threat, and this threat comes none other than from someone in Pakistan, and that someone happens to be no other than the man who's responsible for that heinous crime committed back in 1993. My question to you, Atikur Rahman, is this: why would you allow this to happen? And why is it that till date we never heard about any action being taken by the Mumbai police under Uddhav Thackeray?
Shravan, just 2 points. Number one is we, the Mumbaikars, have suffered the 1993 bomb blast. We know how the blood was shed of the victims, and the victims will only have the closure when the prime, culprit, the convict, Tiger Memon, is brought to book, hanged, and his grave is there, either a sea burial or anything the government henceforth decides. So a final closure is only when the prime accused is presented. The BJP government was unable to do this in the past 8 years. Second important point, you are pinpointing that how under the lenses of the Mumbai police, the Kabristan authorities, this took place. Number 1 point is there is no mausoleum of Yakub Memon. Even now we are talking, I am just sitting a half a kilometer away from that grave. There is no mausoleum, there is no decoration, there is no preferential treatment. And as far as the Mumbai police is concerned, in the day-to-day affairs of any Kabristan or a Shamshan, the police does not interfere. If there is any call from the underworld, the Mumbai police is well equipped to deal with such calls. And there is a nexus between underworld
but Atikur Rahman, I'm talking about the call.
He did not get the question.
Okay.
The
Atikur Rahman.
FIR. Why did
Atikur Rahman, I'm asking about the question. All that I'm asking you, I'm talking about that call that came from Pakistan. Okay, fair enough. I knew the technicality is known to everyone that the civic body is not responsible. The Mumbai police is not responsible because this is under the purview of the Bada Kabristan. It comes under the trustee. Now the fact of the matter is this, that when the former trustee himself is coming on record and saying that, look here, I was being threatened. I was being told that I need to give this piece of land to the family members for the beautification to take place. My question is that,
Shravan, the ex-trustee, why he left the trust, whether he was, removed from the trust, these are a matter of investigation. If any call of threat he had received from the underworld, this is a very usual thing in Mumbai. Everybody knows that if the underworld is calling, the police will take action. The police at that particular moment would have taken the cognizance of it. This ex-trustee must be lying right now. Where was he since so many years?
Now he's lying.
So this is a matter of investigation.
So I want Sujata and Intiqam Faruqi. Now, Sujata, quickly respond, and then I want Intiqam Faruqi to also come in.
You know, Shravan, this passing the buck can go on. I just wanted to make one point. You know, the political the course correction is a very integral part of the political landscape. If we can course correct by naming the Rajpath to Kartavya Path, if we can remove the icons of the King George to Shivaji for the Navy, you know, this also can be corrected. Which party allowed the grave to be built? Which party did the beautification? You know, one thing I want you to ask your panelists, that should there be a grave at all for a terrorist in our country? Should this terrorist grave not be removed?
What is she talking, Shravan? What is she talking?
Where is the prime accused? Why should you put flowers on Yakub Memon's grave?
What has the government done in the past 8 years?
Why should you put flowers on a terrorist? I'm asking you.
You are quick to pass the Why was your government unable to act upon it? What is the communication being taken? How the Pakistani government or wherever he is right now in Dubai, or why the government of India has failed to get back Tiger Memon?
So 279 Mumbaikar,
so far the Indian government is unable to get back Tiger Memon. The victims of the bomb blast won't get the sense of closure.
What about Yakub? No, essentially, are you saying that the court hanged him was a mistake?
Memon is
Are you
the prime accused, ma'am.
You are saying
and your government is unable to bring him back.
Yakub was also the accused. Please do not
Your
try
head
to glorify
should
a
die
terrorist.
in
You are
shame.
trying to glorify a terrorist.
It is a shameful act on the part of the mighty government. Having such a tremendous brute majority, you are unable to curb people like Tiger Memon. He is still at large.
Okay, Intikab Farooqi, one last word. Intikab Farooqi wants to come in. Okay, hold on. Intikab Farooqi. At the start of the debate, I asked you the same question. At the end of the debate, I'm also asking you the same question again and again. That did you or did you not make a mistake by allowing this to happen?
See, one thing I would like to tell you, I don't understand why do we, if anything rises, why do we, blame the ex-government or the present government? Let's unite, let's become a power, because uniting we are going to become a power. And then, together we can fight the terrorism. Again and again, we are just, pointing out on each other. I think, that will only make us, it will disturb all of us.
Because that's exactly what you've done. Standing united, how do you expect anyone to stand united when your action against the terrorists and the treatment given to terrorists is like a VVIP treatment, and obviously no one is going to let no one is going to forget.
If we are blaming the
they don't have any civic issues, that's why they are raising up this issue.
Why did we hand over the body?
You please go and offer flower to
the other question will rise, then that will go on, so one after the other. So I think let's become a team. Let's fight against terrorism. Unite. I don't understand. There is only one thing rising.
And remove
why did the government? Or why did this government did not do this? Did not do that?
Okay. I'd like to thank everyone who's joining us on this debate. Aarti Sathe, Sujata Pandey, Sandeep Singh, Atikur Rahman, Intikab Farooqi, Vijay Krishna and Faizan Mirza, thank you very much for joining us on The Burning Question.
$11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
And here's a look at what else is making news this morning. The Indian javelin throw athlete Neeraj Chopra's scripted history by becoming the first ever Indian to win the prestigious Diamond League trophy, achieving the best throw of 88.44 meters to clinch one of the biggest wins in his career.
Republic's Yakub newsbreak gets bigger. MVA minister seen with Rauf Memon. Republic has accessed exclusive visuals of Abdul Rauf Memon with Juma Masjid Trust and ministers of Mahavikas Aghadi couple. Earlier in the day, Republic also accessed a sensational letter that was written by former graveyard trustee where terrorist Yakub Memon is buried In the letter sent to the Mumbai police on 6th of January 2020, the then trustee claimed to have received a threat call from Tiger Memon's close aide and relative Rauf Memon. The International Olympic Committee has issued a final warning to the Indian Olympic Association to conduct its elections or face a suspension. The IOC has given India until December to conduct its elections or face immediate suspension when the world's body's executive board meets. Neeraj Chopra scripted history for the country, becoming the first Indian to win the Diamond Trophy in the finale of Diamond League Series in men's javelin.
He's the first Indian athlete to win a Diamond League event. He didn't have to look at that, you know. He felt it. Compatriot, mate, Steve Backley, great champion.
More trouble for Mamta's man Anubrata Mondal, this time in 2010 Birbhum case. He was produced before the Kolkata court today. Supreme Court has stayed the demolition of Curly's restaurant in Goa. Remember, the restaurant is linked to the death of Sonali Fogart for violating the coastal regulation zone norms. Celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Union Home Minister Amit Shah flagged Fit India Bike Rally today. The 75 bikers would cover 75 iconic locations in the Pan India Rally.
And here's a look at what else is making news this morning. The Indian javelin throw athlete Neeraj Chopra scripted history by becoming the first ever Indian to win the prestigious Diamond League trophy, achieving the best throw of 88.44 meters to clinch one of the biggest wins in his career.
Republic's Yakub newsbreak gets bigger. MVA minister seen with Rauf Memon. Republic has accessed exclusive visuals of Abdul Rauf Memon with Juma Masjid Trust and ministers of Mahavikas Aghadi government. Earlier in the day, Republic also accessed a sensational letter that was written by former graveyard trustee where terrorist Yakub Memon is buried. In the letter sent to the Mumbai police on 6th of January 2020, the then trustee claimed to have received a threat call from Tiger Memon's close aide and relative Rauf Memon. The International Olympic Committee has issued a final warning to the Indian Olympic Association to conduct its elections or face a suspension. The IOC has given India until December to conduct its elections or face immediate suspension when the world's body's executive board meets. Neeraj Chopra scripted history for the country, becoming the first Indian to win the Diamond Trophy in the finale of Diamond League Series in men's javelin.
He's the first Indian athlete to win a Diamond League event. He didn't have to look at that, you know. He felt it. Compatriot, mate, Steve Backley, great champion.
More trouble for Mamta's man Anubrata Mondal, this time in 2010 Birbhum case. He was produced before the Kolkata court today. Supreme Court has stayed the demolition of Curly's restaurant in Goa. Remember, the restaurant is linked to
It also shows that Balasaheb Thackeray's Shiv Sena, which stood for the victims of Mumbai blast, for the 257 innocent lives that were lost. No smarak was built for them. No shrine was built for them. No memorial was built for them. But because of the pressure of vote bank politics, this Balasaheb Thackeray Sena, it got transmutated into Sharad and Sonia ki Sena.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
President Draupadi Murmu is set to launch the Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, which is aimed at providing community support to those suffering from the disease. Under the campaign, people and institutions can adopt blocks, districts, or even an individual patient and provide nutritional and treatment support. The BJP's National President JP Nadda is set to reach Chhattisgarh at 11 this morning. This comes ahead of the polls that are scheduled next year. Nadda will also attend the BJP events and 3-day RSS National Coordination meeting. It is the first time that an all-India coordination meeting of RSS-linked bodies will be held in Chhattisgarh. Villagers in Rachori have filed a complaint over an alleged pro-Pakistan and anti-India slogan that was raised at the Government Medical College Hostel following a cricket match between Afghanistan and Pakistan as part of the Asia Cup. Telangana's Governor Tamilisai Soundarajan has alleged that the government in the state is discriminated against her as she's a woman governor. The claims were retorted by the Telangana MLC and the Chief Minister KCR's daughter K. Kavita, who said that the governor's office had become a political stage and that allegations were politically motivated. Ghulam Nabi Azad has taken his first chai, but the Gandhis are saying that he'd stayed there for 3 days as they fired missiles against him following his resignation, further adding that he'd been pulling his punches at present. Groups belonging to a particular community have objected to posters about Ghulam Nabi Azad's political campaign in Kishtwar. The municipality in the town stated that a permission had not been taken by the group and were therefore removing the posters as a result.
Made history, becoming the first ever Indian to win the prestigious Diamond League trophy. Neeraj achieved the best throw of 88.44 meters to clinch one of the biggest wins of his career. His best throw of 88.44 meters came in his second attempt. The Indian cricket team crushes Afghanistan by 101 runs in their Super 4 clash at the Asia Cup 2022. A century by Virat Kohli and a 5-wicket haul by pacer Bhuvneshwar Kumar helped India defeat Afghanistan. Virat Kohli scored the highest individual score by an Indian player in T20 international cricket. He accomplished the score in the Super 4 clash against Afghanistan at the Asia Cup. Virat scored his much-anticipated 71st century, smashing an unbeaten 122 in just 61 balls with 6 sixes. Former Indian spinner Harbhajan Singh, who will participate in the second season of the Road Safety World Series, said he is fully devoted to creating awareness to save lives. The Road Safety World Series will feature legends from India, New Zealand, Australia, Sri Lanka, West Indies, South Africa, Bangladesh and England. New Zealand was displaced from the top spot in the recently released International Cricket Council ODI team rankings for the men's cricket after New Zealand's consecutive losses against Australia. England have risen to the top of the ICC one-day international team rankings with a rating of 119.
अच्छा देखो, उसकी बॉडी जब समुद्र में गई थी तो कांग्रेस पार्टी के एक नेता बहुत रोए थे, तो क्यों उनको रुलाना चाहते हैं आदित्य ठाकरे जी?
The International Olympic Committee has issued a final warning to the Indian Olympic Association to conduct its elections or face a suspension. The IOC has given India until December to conduct its elections or face immediate suspension when the world's body's executive board meets. Neeraj Chopra scripted history for the country, becoming the first Indian to win the Diamond Trophy in the finale of Diamond League Series in men's javelin.
He's the first Indian athlete to win a Diamond League event. He didn't have to look at that, he felt it. Compatriot.